Hello there guys, welcome back to another epic inexorable maths video. In this one we're looking at the moment generating function of a sum of random variables. So let's say that we have a bunch of random variables added together. I'll call that Sn. What is the moment generating function of Sn? That's what we're doing. Remember, the moment generating function of some random variable x as a function of t is just the expectation of e to the power of tx. Okay, that's all the moment generating function is. In this video we're looking for the moment generating function of Sn as a function of t. What is this equal to? Well, let's find out. So let's start off by just using the formula for the moment generating function, the definition in fact. So this is just going to be equal to the expectation of e to the power of t times the sum, Sn. Now we can kind of expand this out a little bit here, and we can rewrite this as the expectation of e to the power of t, and then Sn, I'm going to put it back in terms of all of its x's, so x1 plus x2 all the way up to xn. Now what we can do is just use a rule of indices to split this up again. So this is the expectation of e to the power of tx1 multiplied by e to the power of tx2 multiplied by e to the power of tx3 ... times e to the power of txn. Now I'm just going to write this down using our product notation here. So this is the expectation of the product from, let's say, I equals 1 to n of e to the power of t times x I. I just think that's a nicer way of writing it. Now this is a very important step because we are now going to impose an assumption on what the x's are with respect to each other. So I'm going to assume that they are independent, okay? So I'm going to say that these guys are independent, okay? They don't have to have the same distribution, but they are independent. The reason why I want them to be independent is so that I can swap the expectation and the product around. So if two random variables are independent, you can swap these around. So I've got the product from I equals 1 to n of the expectation of e to the power of t times xi, like that. So the conclusion there is that the moment generating function of the sum, which I will write as the sum from I equals 1 to n of the xi's as a function of t, this moment generating function is equal to the product from I equals 1 to n of the expectation of e to the txi, which that is, we know, the moment generating function of just xi as a function of t. So this is just mxi as a function of t. So we have this very nice result here that the moment generating function of a sum is the product of the moment generating functions. And I've kind of taken a little bit too much off the top there. So that's an n. There we go. So that's our very nice looking result. Now there's something even cooler that we can do in a more specific case. So if not only are the x1, x2, x3 all independent, but if they all have the same distribution, then the moment generating functions are all the exact same thing. So we're just multiplying the moment generating function by itself over and over and over again. So we can slightly simplify. So let's write this down. So if the xi's are IID, that means independent and identically distributed, then what we can do is we can say that the moment generating function of the sum is just the product of the moment generating functions, but all of these things are the same. So this is equal to the moment generating function of just any one of them. Let's just say the first one of t to the power of n. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the first one. It could just be xi. You could write it like that, but it doesn't matter because they are IID. So if the xi's are IID, then we have this very, very, very nice result here. I've just written the results down, and we have that the moment generating function of a sum of independent random variables is the product of the moment generating functions. Very, very nice. And if not only are they independent, but identically distributed as well, then we also have that the moment generating function of that sum is actually the moment generating function of any one of them to the power of n, to the power of the number of terms in the sum. Super, super nice. Let me show you one application of this. In the next video, I'll show you an application that's even stronger than this, but for now, let's keep it nice and simple. Let's say, for example, that we have a sequence of random variables where each xi is actually just a normal distributed random variable with a mean of mu and a variance of sigma squared. So each xi is this, And again, we're considering Sn, so we're going to add up n of these guys. So what I'm basically going to show you is if I add together n normally distributed IID random variables, all having a mean of mu and a variance of sigma squared, the moment generating function of that will resemble the moment generating function of a new normal distribution, which basically will tell me that normal plus normal plus normal plus normal and so on is still normal. And of course, we all kind of know that if you add two normals, you make a new normal, but this is a really nice way of showing it, at least in the case where they all have the same mean and they all have the same variance. In general, it doesn't even need to be true that they have to have the same mean and variance, but in this video, we'll keep it nice and simple and we'll do that case. So first of all, let's start by writing the moment generating function of the sum. So the moment generating function of Sn as a function of t. Since they are IID, they all have the same mean and they all have the same variance, we can use this bottom formula and we can just write the moment generating function of any one of them and raise it to the power of n. So for that, we have to remember what the moment generating function is for a normal random variable. I'm going to write that down over there just now. So I've just written it down. If x has a normal distribution with a mean of mu, variance of sigma squared, then this is the moment generating function. We've already seen a video on this, by the way, link in description if you want to see that get derived. Okay, so all we do is we write this down, e to the power of mu t plus a half sigma squared t, and they're all IID, and there's n of them, so I raise it to the power of n just like that. And I can simplify this using laws of indices. I've got e to the power of mu t n plus, let's go a half n sigma squared t like this. So notice one thing. Notice that this has the same structure as the moment generating function for a normal distribution, but it just looks like we've changed the mean and we've changed the variance, and that is the logic. So this is actually the same as the moment generating function for a normal, typical, normal random variable, but instead of the mean being mu, it's mu n. And instead of the standard deviation, or I should say the variance, being sigma squared, it's sigma squared n. So what it tells me is that if I have n IID normal random variables, the distribution of this is still normal, but the mean, I'm assuming the mean is just mu originally, the new mean is mu times n, and the new variance is sigma squared times n, so n sigma squared. Just to make this a bit more satisfying, I'll swap these two around as well. So this is actually really cool because what I've done is I've shown that if I add together n identically distributed normal random variables that are independent, then what I have is a new normal random variable. I've just changed the mean and I've changed the variance. It's really cool. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to prove this again, but we're going to look at the case where the mean is not the same for all of them and the variance is not the same for all of them as well. And I'll show you that that is also still normal. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
That's just another way to say that I'm the best math rapper in the game today. It might sound vain, but it's just how I feel. And baby, 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 I'm just trying to keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. That's right, Gowan was in deep trouble with the law. He threatened government officials countless times and had been arrested even more. Was it them that got him? Was it someone else? Reality is we'll probably never know whose cruel hand that day had dealt. Mathematically analytical but also political. Why do you think Gowan's death became so